Yes, thank you. I have finally completed my first ever Dragon Quest game, Dragon Quest V. Fun fact, the opening to Dragon Quest V, the overture, I thought that was Dragon Quest XI. That's the only time I heard it, especially when Super Smash Bros. Introduced Dragon Quest XI to the roster. I thought that was the song, but apparently it's the Dragon Quest song. What's up, guys? It's your girl, Lady Pelvic with Pelvic Gaming, reviewing my first ever Dragon Quest game, Dragon Quest V, Hand of the Heavenly Bride. Released on the Super Famicom, or SNES, September 27th, 1992. And remade for the PlayStation 2, March 2004. And finally came to the States February 17th, 2009 on the Nintendo 3DS, which is what I played it on and what I'll be reviewing. Special thanks to Harb Soda for gifting me this game. It opens up with your noble father, Pancraz, eagerly pacing, awaiting you, his newborn son. But that was all just a dream as you wake up on a ship as a young lad. You visit many places, traveling with your strong and protective father, and rekindling old friendships, making new ones, and ones that you'll later regret. Ultimately, Dragon Quest V is an intimate tale about growing up, family, and of course saving the world from impending doom. Now, I do want to dive into this a little more, so we're going into major spoiler territory, so if you don't want to hear any of that, please skip to this number right here. I'll wait. You good? Great. I like that we saw the most formative years and decisions of the hero's private life. In most JRPGs, we get hints of character interest, or heck, they may even sleep together. Or yeah, sure, by endgame they'll start their personal life. But how many JRPGs really allow you to marry someone mid-game? To have kids? Have a creative time skip that allows your kids to grow up and become playable characters? You get to travel the world with family that you built, that you literally had a hand in making, with the person you love. Granted, a minor pet peeve is out of the woman that you choose, I don't like that the game pushes you for the obvious choice. Bianca, the childhood friend you form a genuine connection with. Nira explains how useless she is, and Deborah's just a bitch. I tried giving Deborah a go for funsies, but I couldn't do it. I restarted and went with Bianca. Anywho, the hero's son is actually the hero of legend, not the main character himself. And I found that switch up astounding. I love that. Even though the world is under threat, the hero continues to live his best life. He's more than just a hero. He's a loving husband and model father. It's always interesting playing an entry in a series for the first time. You have to learn the lingo, what the game calls HP and MP restoratives, the name spells and what they do, and Dragon Quest V made it very easy. What I've gathered from Dragon Quest titles are very traditional and easy to grasp. The only thing you might struggle with is reading through characters' heavy accents. Dragon Quest V sticks to the classic turn-based formula, with standard options of attack, defend, magic, item, yada yada. You have the options to set your teammates on auto battle, which I did while I was grinding to speed things up. Enemies come at you in groups, so if you aim for something in a group of 2 or more, you'll hit one of them randomly. You can't individually select. A cool thing is certain weapons can hit all enemies or a group of enemies, and I thought that was kind of interesting. Where Dragon Quest V really differentiates itself is the monster capture system. Now, before Yokai Watch in 2013, Tales of Symphonia 2 for the Wii in 2008, before Monster Rancher and Digimon in 1997, and even Pokemon in 1996, was Dragon Quest V in 1992. After the prologue, you'll be able to tame monsters. After defeating them in battle, they'll have a chance to join your party. Unfortunately, it is completely random. If you consult your Book of Beasts, you'll have a rough idea of what is obtainable. Sadly, there is no way of increasing your chances. A few things about monsters. 1, you'll have to have a high wisdom stat in order for them to listen to you, or else you'll have a disobedient beast on your hands. There's nearly 70 recruitable monsters, each with unique skill sets. Now, monsters level up kind of funny because they all have different level caps. Some monsters will grow 4 levels before another grows 1. It's a bit off-putting at first seeing a level 5 high-end monster roll with my level 30-40ish party and effortlessly hold its own. But it's a great thing because it requires less grinding, and you'll be able to use your new monster right away. Plus, if your party's full, they can chill in the wagon and still gain experience. Much like Breath of Fire 4, party members that are on reserve or in the wagon can be switched out in battle. If someone casts a multi-targeted healing spell, everybody, including those benched, get healed. If the wagon is full, you'll have to send a monster to Monty the monster caretaker. You'll also have to equip monsters like regular party members and play around with what they can and can't wear. Like an apple monster, what armor could he wear? Ah, yes, a top hat. That checks out. Ain't nobody getting through this defense. So speaking of equipment, let's talk about item managing. This is one of the weaker aspects of the game. First, there's no shared item pool in battle. What the character is holding is what they got. However, there is a bag that can hold all things. Problem is, it's not very organized. Your equipment is meshed in with your consumables, so it's a mess, even if there is an organizing option. Also, if the main character isn't holding the key item when speaking to an NPC or interacting with whatever, it won't register as you having said key item, which can lead to frustrating moments because I swear I got what was asked and I was stuck for a moment until it clicked. A few other things I'd like to mention, and while I do concede Dragon Quest V is a pretty cozy JRPG, it's certainly a challenge at the start. For most part, you're solo and you're against multiple enemies, and your MP pool is pretty small. I certainly died a lot, and in this game, death means losing half your money. However, money you store in a bank remains untouched. And resurrecting party members only becomes more expensive the higher their level. I also find most human teammates suck until late game. I highly recommend a party of monsters, especially at the beginning. Another thing are the differences between the Famicom or SNES versions versus the DS, and why you should play the DS version. You can have 4 party members instead of 3, more recruitable monsters, a TNT minigame, smarter tactics that you can assign individually, there's a third wife, Deborah, more items in barrels, you can just click a button and search, general rebalancing issues, added cutscenes, and the party chat system where you can get commentary on the story thus far, or funny dialogue. I wouldn't eat me if I were you. Right, we don't eat our monsters. And obviously, graphical enhancements, which kindly leads us to the graphics. And boy, from SNES to 3DS, there was quite the jump, and color me impressed. First thing you'll notice is 3D rendered backgrounds, and you can turn the camera around to see things from different angles. This actually required some reworking of most of the layouts in the 3DS version, or rather taken from the PS2 version, which by the way looks pretty damn good. I think the thing I'm most happy about is they kept the world colorful. Bright colors just speak to me and make any game appealing. You can see the SNES version is bold and beautiful, baby, and the 3DS doesn't disappoint either. But the most important thing that immediately caught my eye were the monster designs and animations. I mean, wow, I was really excited to run into monsters. They're so damn charming. How they look, how they move, they attack, they're kinda goofy looking, at least the early ones. I mean, how are you supposed to take a dopey looking teardrop seriously? But for whatever reason, you want it. Seriously, that was my treat. Not capturing the monsters themselves, but just seeing them. They were super cool. Now, one thing I overcame was the battle layout. Listen, I understand this is super dumb, a minute pet peeve of mine that honestly has deterred me from Shinigami Tensei games. I'm ashamed to admit how petty this is, but I hate not seeing my characters on the battlefield. Like, I despise it as a design choice. I'm not talking about, oh, they're on a different screen. I'm talking about actually in front of the characters or an icon resembling them, even if it's just their backs. Granted, I warmed up to it. I think they made the monsters so lovable that I was okay with them being the pure focus. As for the music, Koichi Sugiyama is at the helm of it all once again, composing the first 4 Dragon Quest games, and even Dragon Quest Your Story that came out earlier this year. I enjoyed what I heard. First dive into Dragon Quest music, and I'm a fan. Being on the SNES originally, it has a small soundtrack with only 16 songs, but they're pretty good. Standard JRPG sounds, towns, dungeons, new ways to travel present different music, but there is definitely a glow up from the SNES to DS. I think the Land of the Fairies exemplifies this. Here is the SNES. And now the 3DS. I'm really happy that the 3DS truly kept the same spirit, same energy, you know? But my favorite is the second song you hear once you actually start the game, and it's called The Ocean. And you guessed it, it's when you're traveling by ship. Hey, so my first ever Dragon Quest game. What did I think? It is deserving of a 9 out of 10. However, if you're asking my personal score, I feel like it's an 8 out of 10 because I was a little disappointed. I was told I would get mother levels of intimacy. So I was ready to bawl my eyes out. I was ready to feel. I was ready to hurt. Like, bring on the pain, baby. I didn't get any of that. Don't get me wrong. It was sad. There was pain. There were moments where like, damn, this sucks. But it was nowhere near the levels of Mother 3. Not even close. So my expectations tampered with the score a little bit. Positives is I like that it was a coming-of-age story. I've never played a JRPG quite like that. I really do appreciate the intimate insight you get of the main character. One of the things I would have liked changed, considering that this is this game's 3rd time being remade, is the item management. Still outdated. And maybe tweak how monsters can be recruited. I didn't mind it. I'm not a crazy monster hunter kind of person. It's like whoever I got is what I got and what I worked with, and they worked well. Also, I got lucky. I got 2 gold dragons. But I can understand if you're coming at this with a Pokemon mindset, gotta catch them all, you will be frustrated. Oh, and I felt the beginning was a bit rough, but other than that, it was a pretty easy and enjoyable and traditional JRPG. It's a good Dragon Quest to start off with. That said, my next Dragon Quest game will be 8, then 9, then 11. Don't ask me when they're coming out, they'll be out when they're out. Now, my question for you is there something in a game, something minute, small, petty, like insignificant, that prevents you from playing a game? That just you see it and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to play this. Like, it doesn't break the game, it doesn't hinder the experience. It's just something that you see that games do and you're just like, why? My thing, it's just not aesthetically pleasing not to see my characters on the battlefield. It literally drives me insane. I don't know why. So let me know your petty problems and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you all for watching. Be gentle when leaving a comment as this was my first ever Dragon Quest game. Of course, I appreciate you, and if you want more of me, top box is more videos like this and the bottom box is my Let's Play channel. And of course, don't forget to become a patron, to join the Discord, vote on my next games, early access to videos, and prints. Mwah! Oh, he's still in. He's still safe. He's still safe.